The galactic verdict, the council chamber floated high above the glittering core of the galactic capital, a place where leaders of countless civilizations gathered to decide the fate of worlds. Humans, small in number but full of hope, stood before the immense council, their eyes scanning the towering figures in shimmering robes. For decades, humanity had dreamed of joining the Galactic Alliance, to be counted among the stars, to prove that they were more than just a primitive species. Now, after long years of trials and observation, the moment of truth had arrived. Admiral Celine, leader of the human delegation, stepped forward, her heart pounding, and spoke with a voice steady despite the fear. "We have come to seek our place among the stars, to show our worth and our courage." A low murmur swept through the chamber, strange languages echoing off the polished walls, but the humans remained silent, waiting for judgment. Then, the Grand Arbiter, a being with eyes like liquid silver, rose from his throne, his voice resonating across the chamber. "After careful deliberation, the Council finds humanity unworthy of membership." A cold silence fell over the humans, disbelief and shock frozen on their faces. "What do you mean?" muttered Celine under her breath, her hands clenching into fists. The Grand Arbiter continued, "Your species is volatile, reckless, and untested. Your history is filled with conflict, and you lack the experience to navigate the challenges of the galaxy." The words struck like a hammer, each one crushing the hopes of the humans. Their dreams of joining the stars shattered in an instant. Outside the chamber, human ships hovered quietly, their engines humming with anxious energy, waiting to carry them back to a planet they no longer knew could be home. Among the delegation, whispers began to spread, some pleading for mercy, others questioning if they had misunderstood the Council's intentions. Selena's mind raced, searching for a way to turn this disaster into opportunity. "We will not fall quietly," she whispered to herself, a spark of defiance igniting in her chest. The Council's verdict was final, and humans were to be exiled from interstellar politics, forbidden from exploring, trading, or claiming colonies beyond Earth's system. Yet, as the humans left the chamber, the Galactic Arbiter's gaze seemed to linger, as if sensing a storm brewing within this small but unbroken species. On the bridge of the lead human ship, Celine gathered her team. "We may be exiled, but we are not defeated," she said, her voice steady now, full of determination. "What can we do against the Council?" asked Lieutenant Harlan, fear and frustration mixing in his tone. Celine smiled faintly. "We survive, we learn, and when the time comes, we show them that humans are not to be underestimated." The ship's engines roared to life, carrying them away from the glittering chambers of the Council, and into the unknown reaches of space. Stars stretched endlessly ahead, mysterious and full of danger, but also full of possibilities. The humans, small and untested, felt the weight of their exile, yet a strange sense of freedom began to settle among them. They were alone, yes, but for the first time, they realized that their destiny was not written by the Council. It was theirs to claim. As the galactic capital shrank behind them, Celine looked out at the infinite blackness of space, determination shining in her eyes. "We will rise, and when they see us again, it will be on our terms." A quiet fire burned in every heart aboard the human ships, the first spark of a rebellion that would one day echo across the galaxy. Exile had become their crucible, and in its heat, humanity would forge a future even the Galactic Council could not ignore. The stars awaited, and so did humanity's first steps toward conquest. The exile begins. The human fleet drifted silently away from the galactic capital, their engines low but steady. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, cold and distant, and each human aboard felt the heavy weight of exile pressing down on them. Admiral Celine stood on the bridge of the lead ship, watching the glowing streaks of distant suns, her jaw tight. "This is only the beginning," she said quietly, her eyes scanning the control panels. "We may be exiled, but we are not defeated." Lieutenant Harlan, pacing near the observation window, shook his head. "It feels like they've trapped us." "Celine, no allies, no support, nothing but empty space." Celine turned to him, her voice firm. "Empty space is opportunity. Harlan, we will find a way, and we will grow stronger." The ships sailed into uncharted regions, away from the familiar constellations of Earth's system, and the crew began to realize just how isolated they truly were. Supplies were limited, and tension aboard the ships grew as humans adjusted to the harsh reality of life in exile. Yet even in fear, small sparks of hope appeared. Engineers discovering ways to improve engines, scientists scanning for habitable worlds, and soldiers training for threats yet unknown. Days passed, and strange signals began to appear on the fleet's sensors, faint pulses coming from a distant, barren planet. No known colony or station exists there, said Chief Navigator Erin, pointing at the readings. It could be abandoned, or it could be dangerous. Celine frowned, her mind racing. We have no choice but to investigate, Harlan. It may hold resources or information we need to survive. As the fleet approached, the planet loomed large, its surface scarred by deep canyons and jagged mountains. The atmosphere thin but breathable in certain regions. The humans landed cautiously, boots crunching on the rocky soil, weapons ready, eyes scanning every shadow. It was a harsh, unforgiving world, yet strange structures dotted the landscape, half-buried ruins of a civilization long gone. Some humans felt awe, others fear, whispers spreading across the landing site. Who lived here? Why did they vanish? Celine walked among her crew, her gaze steady. We are the first to step here in centuries, perhaps millennia, and we will make this planet ours if we can. While humans explored, a faint hum began to resonate from the ruins. A vibration felt deep in their bones, subtle but unmistakable. Lieutenant Harlan's eyes widened. This isn't natural. It feels like the planet is alive. Engineers and scientists hurried to study the ruins, uncovering advanced technology, strange devices powered by energy humans had never seen before. Celine knew immediately that the Council had underestimated them, that this exile, meant to break humanity, had instead placed them in a world of hidden potential. At night, humans gathered around makeshift fires, sharing stories of Earth, of the Council, and of dreams yet unbroken. Even in exile, hope began to bloom, quiet but strong, as the crew realized that they were not just survivors, they were pioneers, explorers, warriors in the making. And somewhere deep beneath the planet's surface, the hum grew stronger, pulsing like a heartbeat, as if waiting for humans to awaken its secrets. Celine stood on a cliff, overlooking the alien landscape, wind whipping through her hair. We were cast out. Yes, she murmured, but this is where our real journey begins. The stars above shone cold and distant, but humans knew they would not bow to them. They would adapt, learn, and rise. Exile had forced them into the unknown, but the unknown was now their ally, full of danger, yes, but also full of the tools they needed to turn despair into power. The first steps of humanity's true conquest had begun, silent, careful, and full of promise. Discovery of hidden power. The human fleet had settled on the barren planet, exploring its jagged mountains and deep canyons cautiously. Every day brought new challenges: thin air, harsh winds, and unpredictable terrain, but also small victories. As engineers and scientists adapted, then, deep within a narrow canyon, Lieutenant Harlan stumbled upon something that made his heart race. "Admiral Celine, you need to see this," he called, voice trembling with awe. Celine and a small team hurried to the site, and what they saw stunned them all. A massive structure, half buried in rock, etched with symbols no human had ever seen, hummed faintly with energy. The walls pulsed with a strange light, and the air felt charged, almost alive. This is technology beyond our understanding," muttered Chief Scientist Lyra, her fingers brushing over the glowing markings. Selena's eyes narrowed. "Then it is exactly what we need. If the Council thought they could exile us, they were wrong." The humans worked carefully, studying the devices, trying not to trigger anything dangerous. Days passed, and slowly, they learned to awaken the machines, powering them with a combination of human ingenuity and sheer intuition. The devices responded, forming holographic maps, weapon systems, and energy shields, all far superior to anything humans had ever built. Harlan tested a small drone, and it responded instantly to thought commands, moving faster than any Council craft. "This could change everything," Celine said quietly, feeling the weight of destiny settle on her shoulders. Yet not all humans felt ready to embrace this power. "We don't even know who made this," warned Engineer Cato, "or why. What if it's dangerous? The Council could find us." Celine looked around. At her team, danger is part of growth. If we hesitate, we fail. This planet is our chance to rise, to become more than they ever imagined. As they continued their exploration, they discovered a hidden chamber, sealed for centuries. Inside, a crystalline core pulsed like a heartbeat, radiating immense energy, and the symbols on the walls seemed to align with it. Lyra gasped, This is a power source unlike anything in the galaxy." It could fuel our fleet for decades. Celine touched the core lightly, feeling a surge of energy flow through her, and with it, a vision of humanity's potential ships rising, battles won, and the Council finally taking notice. The team realized that this planet was not just a refuge, it was a weapon and a shield, a key to survival and conquest. At night, as humans camped under alien stars, whispers of ambition spread quietly. They thought they could exile us, but they gave us the tools to become unstoppable, Harlan said, eyes shining with determination. Celine looked at the glowing horizon, a smile forming on her lips. We were cast out to be forgotten, but instead, we have found our strength, and somewhere deep in the ruins, the machines hummed in anticipation, waiting for the humans to unlock their full potential. The barren planet had become humanity's crucible, and within it, they were beginning to forge a power that could challenge the Galactic Council itself. Exiled, yes, but never weak, never broken, and never quiet. The first sparks of a human-led revolution flickered to life, small yet bright, ready to grow into a fire that would sweep across the stars. The journey from survival to dominance had begun, and humanity had already taken its first steps toward becoming a force the galaxy could no longer ignore. The first strike, the humans had spent weeks mastering the alien technology, building ships faster and stronger than anything they had imagined. On the barren planet, hidden in its deep canyons, their fleet gleamed under the pale alien sun, ready for a test of power. Admiral Celine stood on the bridge of the lead ship, her eyes scanning the stars. "Today, we take our first step," she said calmly, though her heart raced with anticipation. "We show the Council that humanity cannot be ignored." Lieutenant Harlan checked the weapons systems one last time. "All drones are online, shields are stable, engines optimized. Everything is ready." Celine nodded. "Good. Remember, precision, speed, and strategy. We strike hard and disappear before they can react." Their target was a minor Galactic Council outpost, lightly defended but rich in resources, a testing ground to measure humanity's newfound strength. The fleet launched silently, gliding through the void like shadows, sensors active, every human tense with anticipation. As they approached the outpost, Council sensors picked up unusual activity, but by the time alarms rang, humans were already in striking range. The attack was swift and precise, drones moving like lightning, disabling weapons, disabling communications, and securing the outpost without unnecessary destruction. Celine watched the operation unfold, pride swelling in her chest. This is only the beginning. They will see that humans are not weak. Inside the outpost, Council officers scrambled, unable to understand how such a small force had penetrated defenses. "Impossible," muttered one. "This is human technology, beyond what we thought they could achieve." Back on the human ships, celebration was quiet but intense. Crew members cheering in whispers, sharing smiles and nods, knowing they had taken the first step toward freedom. Yet, even in victory, tension remained. As Celine reminded her team, "The Council will respond. They will come for us, and we must be ready." Among the crew, disagreements began to surface, some believing they should expand immediately, others urging caution. Harlan confronted Celine. "Do we risk too much? What if the Council discovers the planet and the technology?" Celine's eyes were steady. "We risk nothing if we act smart. Fear is the enemy. Courage is our weapon." As the fleet returned to the barren planet, they analyzed the data, repaired minor damages, and improved strategies for future operations. Every victory, small though it was, strengthened their resolve, and the humans began to realize their true potential. No longer were they exiles hiding in the dark. They were a force to be reckoned with, a species capable of strategy, innovation, and defiance. At night, around the glow of alien fires, humans spoke quietly of the Council, of Earth, and of a future where humanity would no longer bow to anyone. Some whispered of conquest, others of freedom, but all shared the same determination, a fire that could not be extinguished. Celine looked up at the alien sky, stars glittering like scattered jewels. "We struck first." "Yes," she murmured, "but this is only the beginning. We will rise, stronger with every challenge." Deep within the planet's ruins, the hum of ancient technology seemed to pulse in agreement, as if acknowledging humanity's growing strength. The first strike had been successful, a test of power and courage, and it had shown the humans something vital. They were capable of far more than exile had ever allowed. The Council may have cast them out, but humanity had found its path, and the road to victory and conquest had just begun. humanity's rise, the humans had grown stronger, their ships faster, their weapons sharper, and their minds sharper still. Exiled by the Galactic Council, they were no longer just survivors, they were a force ready to reclaim their place among the stars. Admiral Celine stood on the bridge of the lead ship, looking out at the Council's fleet approaching in the distance. "They think they can intimidate us," she said calmly, her eyes bright with determination. "But they have not seen what humans can do." Lieutenant Harlan checked the systems. "Shields are stable, drones ready, engines fully optimized. We are ready for them." Celine nodded. "Then let them come." Today, humanity takes its first step toward victory as the Council fleet advanced. Humans moved with strategy, attacking weak points, disabling ships with precision, and avoiding unnecessary destruction. Every maneuver demonstrated something the Council had underestimated. For centuries humans could think, adapt, and fight with courage and intelligence. Inside the Council's command ship, panic spread among their leaders. How can such a small force hold its own? One officer gasped. "This is beyond calculation." On the human ships, celebrations were quiet but filled with pride. Crew members exchanging determined glances, knowing that they were rewriting history. Celine guided her fleet with calm authority. "Remember, this is not just about battle. It's about proving our worth. We fight for our survival, for our freedom, and for humanity." The battle raged across the stars, but humans moved as one. Each ship and soldier working in harmony, using every skill, every device, and every ounce of courage they had gained. Finally, the Council fleet, overwhelmed and outmaneuvered, began to retreat. Unable to match the human strategy and determination, Celine allowed herself a small smile. "They have learned the wrong lesson. They cannot suppress humans. Not ever." Back on their planet, humans gathered to watch the stars. Now free from immediate threat, but aware that the galaxy had noticed their rise. "The Council thought exile would break us," Harlan said softly. "But instead, it forged us into something stronger." Celine nodded, looking out at the glowing alien ruins that had given them power. "We were cast out, yes, but we chose to rise, to adapt, and to conquer, not with hatred, but with courage and unity." The humans began to rebuild, stronger than ever, establishing bases, improving technology, and training for future challenges. They were no longer victims, they were pioneers, warriors, and guardians of their destiny. Stories of their courage and ingenuity spread quietly through the galaxy. Whispers among other species. "Humans, they are not to be underestimated." Celine stood atop a cliff, gazing at the stars. "This is only the beginning. Humanity will rise, not just to survive, but to thrive, to conquer, and to shine among the stars." The once exiled species had become a legend in the making, their spirit unbroken, their resolve unshakable, and their future brighter than any star in the galaxy. The Galactic Council had rejected them, yes, but humans had chosen a different path, one of triumph, innovation, and unstoppable strength. And somewhere deep in the ruins of their new home, the ancient technology pulsed with life, ready to aid humanity in every challenge ahead. Exile had been their crucible, struggle their teacher, and now humanity had risen, not as weaklings cast aside, but as conquerors in their own right. The stars were theirs to claim, the galaxy theirs to explore, and humanity's legend had only just begun.